So share with us a little bit about Perfect Timing. I know that your sister's included in that on vocals. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Perfect Timing, which is perfect. No, keep going into Perfect Timing. Just tell us, how did that happen?
Perfect Timing was composed by Robbie Benson.
Okay.
Okay, and let's see, how did that happen? I was hanging out over George Benson's house, and
nothing, just hanging out at George Benson's house. I understand.
Right.
Just like people do. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And we were listening to Back to the Sunshine.
Yes.
And Robbie came in the room and he said, "Oh man, I got something that'll go good with that," And so I said, "Okay, let's hear it." So he sent it to me about a few days later, and I listened to it and I sent it to Preston, and there it is. Perfect timing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And obviously I know Preston liked it because, hey, yes. Now, in terms of technology and working together, so were you actually in the studio with Preston? Because obviously I'm assuming, given the current environment where people are not traveling and so on, or was this done before all that happened?
We actually did 2 takes in the studio.
You mean live in person, like live?
Yes, me and Preston and George.
Okay.
Yeah, we did 2 sessions, and that was it.
And that was in Arizona, I assume, was it?
That was in Arizona, yeah,
okay.
at George's personal studio.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, we did it.
That wasn't that long ago, was it? I think it was probably.
No, it wasn't. And we practiced safety. It was only maybe 4 of us there, and we stayed. Yeah.
And tell me about, I mentioned about your sister being involved in the vocals. How did that all come about?
Oh, my sister, she's such a great singer. I had to have her on that song.
Yes.
Back to the Sunshine went so well, and I loved the vocals on that. So I figured, since that went so well on the charts, let's not change what we did. Let's do the sax and vocal again.
Yes.
But this time I have my sister, because I felt like, she would be perfect. We performed so well together.
Yes.
And she did a great job. She did a great job.
Yes. Yeah. I just realized we keep talking about your sister. We didn't name her.
Charity Lockhart.
Charity. That is Charity or Charity?
Charity.
Okay. Yeah. And does she live in Arizona too?
She does. She lives in Arizona.
Okay.
And she performs around. She does a Aretha Franklin tribute show.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. All right. Well, that's not the easiest thing to do.
No, she's fabulous though.
Yeah, you gotta have a good voice if you're gonna do Aretha song.
Yes. And we've traveled to Panama City.
Wow.
We've traveled to Mexico. We've traveled to Cincinnati to do the show. Cleveland.
Wow.
We've been quite a few places. We played at the Playhouse Theater in Cleveland, and we did 3 shows. Packed all 3 shows out.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you perform obviously as part of that.
Okay.
All right. Yes. So it's a family affair.
Yes.
All right. We keep. What happened there? Lost you for a second. No, you're back. Sorry. We keep using song titles here, don't we? Just the 2 of us. And what else did we? Anyway. So here we are. Perfect Timing's out. Perfect Timing. Excellent. Great. And so what's next, Jermaine? What's next on your agenda? What are you looking to be doing? Oh, well, before we get to that, let me ask you a question about working with George Benson. As I referenced earlier, George is really, at this point, I think he probably would not be insulted if we called him iconic or a legend, because that is what he's earned. So how did you find working with him actually in the studio and, hands-on when he's there, and, what was that experience like for you?
Well, I was nervous, of course,
Yes.
And I get it right the first time.
Yes.
Which added more pressure. It was great working with him. I learned a lot. You know, he taught me to not play for myself, because in the beginning I would play all of these, you know, the stuff that I like, theoretical, you
Yeah.
know, the great things that I felt was great. And he told me, you know, hey man, you know, the average ear is not gonna, the average person is not going to understand what you're doing there. He was like, you need to play for the people and not for yourself.
I gotcha.
And yeah, so he taught me that, and that was the best thing that he could have, one of the best things that he could have ever told me.
Really, really.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so would you say that was the main thing you took away from working with him, like that whole way of approaching recording from the perspective of this is, you know, this is for the people, this is for the audience, this is, you know, yeah.
Yes.
Would you say that was the main thing you took away from that? Yeah.
Right. So I asked him, I said, well, I said, I listened to your solos, George, and to me, they're so perfect. Every solo is so perfect. It's just, it's almost like you sat down and you wrote it out before you recorded it. You know, I said, how do you do that? And he told me, he said, hey, there's a beginning and there's an end. He was like, he said, and you got the middle. He said,
yeah,
give them a little blues in there.
Yeah.
And give them some good melody. And he said, and you have to remember that melody is energy. So you have to be thinking about that. There's a beginning, there's an end, and you got melody and energy all in there.
Wow.
So you want to start, you know, kind of start slow. In the beginning, there was, you know, sort of like the Bible starts, you know what I mean? In the beginning, you know, and then you just kind of elaborate on that. And by the end of that solo, you should be on fire. You know, you should be, energy should be all the way there. And now you go out, you know.
Wow.
He also told me that there's attention and release in your soloing. So he told me to remember that tension and release. He said, play some melodic stuff, you know, that'll be nice for the common ear. He said, and every now and again, you throw something technical on there. You know what I mean? And
that was
just
pretty
kind of
good. Yeah.
Whoa, you know, he can do that too, you know.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting. Yeah. It's interesting when you said that, because I was reminded, I can't remember what song it is. I just reminded of a George Benson recording in which he kind of scats like that. I mean, I'm not talking about on the guitar. I'm talking about, you know, singing.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. That's an interesting. Wow, that's not a bad guideline, is it?
Oh, tension and release. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So now here we are. We've got the 2 singles. So what's next?
What's next is the album.
Yes.
To my understanding, and don't quote me on this, it's supposed to come out in August.
Okay. So have you already begun recording?
We have several songs.
Excellent.
Yeah. It sounds so great. I kind of want to leak them, but I know that's not good.
No, not a good idea. But I do want to ask you, it's an interesting question, which I was kind of, you know, thinking about. You know, there's a group of saxophonists that really careers began maybe 30 years ago, maybe in some cases a little less, but mostly like within the last few, you know, 3 decades or so. So I'm going to reel off a few names, and some of them might be a little bit more than 3, but within the last 30 years or so. So we've got, you know, we've got Najee, Kirk Whalum, you know, David Sanborn. They were all on the tip of my tongue before. Gerald Albright, did I mention him already? Anyway,
no.
So there's about 4. There's at least a half a dozen, if not more. You know, of course, going back, there's others. You know, but I'm talking about contemporary saxophone players, right? And what I noticed, and this was particularly interesting to me when we, you know, went ahead with Back to the Sunshine and now Perfect Timing, is I couldn't think of very many current or brand or new, in a sense, recording artists who, you know, saxophonists. And why do you think that is?
Probably because of technology.
Right.
Technology everything is digital now,
Right.
and I think that a lot of the people coming up now, musicians, if you will,
Hmm.
they're not really musicians. They just hit a button. They're samplers, you know, they sampling.
Yes.
And I think maybe that's because that's what's been pushed on the audience. They've become used to that, maybe. I don't,
Okay.
maybe, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so in a sense, you know, we could say you're a part of a new generation, and I'm saying that respectfully. I mean, I know you're not 18. What I mean by that is you're part of a new generation of hopefully a new generation of musicians, recording artists who you know, are playing instruments like the saxophone and guitar and so on. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I do notice it's kind of missing. And
it
certainly when I
is.
was growing up, it was common. You would go to a concert and you would see a Grover Washington or a Najee or a, you know, you'd see live musicians
Yes.
and they had records out on a consistent basis. So it is interesting to see. So are you part of the new breed?
I am. I am. I'm glad you said that. I am definitely. I'm playing music that feels good, that makes people want to dance, and that touch
Excellent.
their souls.
Yes.
You know, I don't know. I asked a friend of mine. I said, "How did smooth jazz even come about?" And jokingly, they said that, you know, people needed something to listen to while they were driving their cars. You know, just to kind of nothing
Okay.
to really distract them, you know, just the kind of driving music, you know, nice
Yeah,
and smooth, you know. And I thought that was funny. Uh, yeah, but I want to change that. Saxophone players are known for smooth jazz mostly, or bebop, or straight ahead.
yeah.
I want to change that. Let us, you know, we can make people dance, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well,
Hmm.
all right. Well, Jermaine, I really appreciate. Yeah, this is great. Again, I'm really thrilled that we have this release on out right now. Perfect timing. Plug again. Spotify, all digital platforms, everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. And
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to hearing the fruits of your work with Preston and George and yourself on on your album project.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you know, just want to say thank you to also again, you mentioned it earlier. Or you think you mentioned it earlier, but I certainly want to thank the some of the UK soul music radio
Yes, sir.
stations who have been supporting the music with the first single, and hopefully doing the same thing with this one. And who knows, post pandemic, maybe we'll actually get to see you live in the UK.
Oh, I can't wait to get out there. I cannot wait. I am so excited about coming over there to the UK. I wouldn't believe, David. I can't wait to shake your hand,
All
give you
right.
a hug, wrap my arms around you,
All
and
right,
kiss
then.
your cheek and all of that.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Well, Joanne, thank you again for your time. And, just tell everybody, check out Back to the Sunshine if you didn't already. And if you have checked out Back to the Sunshine, we know you're going to check out Perfect Timing.
Thank you
Great.
so much. Thank you so much.
You're
All
welcome.
right, hey, David.
Take care now, Jermaine. Thank
Hey,
you.
David. Hey, David. Dave, I got a question or two for you.
Oh, go on then.
Okay, so what do you see for me in the future, being that, you know, I'm with Soul Records?
SoulMusic Records? Well, you know, what do I see? Well, I think one of the things that, speaking from the perspective that you're asking me the question from, we are developing, SoulMusic Records. At this point, it's really a digital enterprise. It's not really a physical. We don't really put out physical albums,
Mhm.
just because of the marketplace. At this point, it doesn't really warrant doing that, and
Mhm.
that's not personal. That's just the way. We just noticed that the demand for physical albums and CDs has really changed quite considerably. So we're really geared, to put out this digital releases, and we've been focused to some degree on I would say, classic artists. I mean, some of the releases we've had on SoulMusic Records that, by virtue of working with Preston, have included albums by Larry Graham and Lenny Williams. I say albums, I mean digital albums by Larry Graham, Lenny Williams, you know, kind of what you call legendary artists or iconic artists. And then we just have a release we just did on Maurice White from Preston's work with him. And at the same time, what we want to do is bring along, you know, some new artists who people haven't yet heard. And I say new artists, I mean, you know, we want to develop SoulMusic Records as a viable alternative to, you could say, major labels, where we can make sure also that the music gets integrated into playlists so that people, you know, for example, you know, can listen to, you know, we can put a Jermaine Lockhart track on a compilation with a Grover Washington or you know, David Sanborn. In other words, to put out your music, which is new music, along with the classic music of others, so that people who might be listening to a Grover Washington in a playlist will also be hearing Jermaine Lockhart. So that's one of the things we're up to with SoulMusic Records. I don't know if that was a long answer to a short question.
Yeah.
Was that the answer you were looking for?
I don't know what I was looking for. I was just looking for.
But did it answer your question? The question is, did it answer your question?
Yes, it did. It did.
Yeah.
Have you heard the new tune that me and Preston did,
No.
Summer Superman?
Nope. He's very good with not playing me anything till it's absolutely finished.
Did you know about Summer Superman?
I do not.
Are you familiar with that tune?
Nope.
Summertime Superman? Sunshine Superman, I'm sorry.
Nope.
By Donovan?
Don't know it. Are you talking about Donovan the English, the British from?
Yeah.
No. Well, I should say in defense, Jermaine, because you probably, well, why wouldn't you know it? Because at the time that would have come out, which I would imagine would have been somewhere in the 60s, right? My focus in music was already very much into R&B and what we would call soul music as it was emerging at the time. So I basically didn't listen to anything else. And so the only Donovan song I know is a song called Mellow Yellow.
Mellow Yellow.
That's the only one I know. But I do know there is, now you're talking about it, I know there is a song called Sunshine Superman, but I don't know what it sounds like. Now I'm going to have to go on Spotify and hear it.
Well, don't do that because it doesn't sound
anything like that.
You know Preston. You know Preston.
Yeah, I do. All right, so now you left me with a teaser, and I will, but I'll wait till I hear the Jermaine Lockhart and Preston Glass definitive version of the song.
Yes, sir.
How's that?
That sounds great.
All right.
Okay, David.
Excellent.
Thanks so much, man.
Thank you so much, Jermaine. It's great talking to you, and I look forward to hearing more great music from you.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll
take care now.
Okay, you too.
Okay.
Okay.